Hello, Junior Rangers. My name is Alex Anderson, and I'm an interpreter here at Crystal Cove State Park. And today for our virtual Junior Ranger program, we're going to be exploring the wonderful world of birds here in this California State Park. Now, some people have called me a bird nerd because I always have my binoculars. I'm always looking for different bird species and recording them in my bird journal. I have over 100 species written down, but did you know there are more than 10,000 species of birds worldwide? These are fascinating creatures to learn about because they come in all different shapes and sizes, they eat all different kinds of food, and they live in all different types of habitats all around the world. Can you guys think of the largest bird on Earth? It's an ostrich. An ostrich can grow up to 9 feet tall and weigh about 340 pounds. Now, think about the smallest bird on Earth. Can you guess it? It's a hummingbird. It's actually called the bee hummingbird, and it lives in Cuba. It weighs 0.056 ounces, about the weight of a penny in your palm. So today we're going to take a look at the birds that live here at Crystal Cove State Park by going over some bird basic characteristics. We'll look at how these birds use their body parts to survive in this environment here. And we're going to start with the smallest bird in our park and work up to the largest bird. All right, let's start. Now, birds have something that no other animal has. What does a bird have that no other animal has? Many people think wings, but what about a bat or a butterfly? Butterflies and bats have wings, right? But do they have feathers? No. So birds are the only animals that have feathers. That separates them from all other animals. Now, just because all birds have feathers, does that mean all birds fly? No. There are about 60 species of birds that don't fly. They've adapted to their life on land, so they don't need to fly anymore. That's super interesting. I have a fun bird poster here. Maybe you can read along with me. A bird is an animal that has feathers. It is warm-blooded, hatches from an egg, and has a backbone. It has a beak, 2 legs, and 2 wings. I know we have owls here at Crystal Cove. Sometimes we've seen ducks in our creeks, and we have our own kind of jay called a scrub jay. Now, birds construct nests for their eggs, and big birds like eagles and hawks are going to use branches and sticks to construct large nests at the top of trees and poles, but other birds use different kinds of material. This is a type of nest that we have seen in our backcountry. Now, what do you think the bird used to make this nest? First, let's meet our bird. This is called a hooded oriole. They're very bright and orange, and they're migratory birds. That means they only visit us at a certain time of the year. They travel to different parts of the earth at different times of the year. So we see them in the springtime, and they make these sock-like nests using the branches of palm trees. You guys know palm trees, you usually see them, they're planted near the beach usually. So the bird will fly to a palm tree and pull each strand from the leaves and then make a nest. And this is a dried out palm tree leaf, but you can see how this oriole had woven its nesting material into the palm tree. I think that is so interesting. So this really shows that birds are industrious. That means they're very busy, they're hardworking, they're always trying to feed, to breed, and to take care of their young. All right, so our birds lay eggs. And all of their eggs kind of look different, they're different colored for different reasons. So we're gonna start with this egg here. This is a replica of an egg of a bird that we do have here at Crystal Cove. This is the egg of a California state bird. Do you guys know what the California state bird is? It's a California quail. And quail like to nest on the ground in the soil, so that's why their egg is kind of blotchy and brown to blend in or camouflage so that they don't get eaten by predators. Next egg that we have here, it's kind of the color of mint chocolate chip. What kind of bird would lay this egg? Well, it's an American crow. You know those blackbirds you see in the sky? They like to nest in evergreen trees at the tops of green branches, so that's why their eggs are green to blend in with their surroundings. This is a very interesting looking egg. It's more kind of circular, not as oval. This is the egg of a great horned owl. And they're so high up in the tree that they don't need to blend in as much as the other birds who lay their nests closer to the ground, which makes them more vulnerable or open to predators. Then we have this large egg, kind of blotchy like the quail. This is a bird that you see when you go to the beach. It flies overhead and it goes, ah, ah! It's a western gull. Sometimes people call them seagulls. And they like to nest out on rocks on the ocean. So that's why their eggs are kind of brown and blotchy, so they can blend in on the rocks. So let's take a look at the nest of our smallest bird here in the park. This is the nest of a hummingbird. And if you look very closely, they make their nest out of soft material like bits of feathers and lint and spider webs even. And you see the eggshells they use to protect the nest. This is the replica of a hummingbird egg, about the size of a Tic Tac. Boop. So let's learn about our hummingbirds now. The smallest bird we have here in the park. You can learn a lot about a bird's lifestyle from its beak and from its feet. Hummingbirds' feet are so small that they can't even walk on the ground or hop. They can only perch on branches. So they're built for flight, really. And if you look at their bill, it's very long, bill or beak. So it's kind of like a straw. And what do they like to eat, hummingbirds? They like to sip on nectar from flowers. So just like we use a straw to sip on juice, our hummingbird is going to fly over to a flower and use its long bill to suck up the nectar from a flower. So they're very important pollinators here in the park. Pollinators are organisms that help us spread pollen to help spread all of the plants that grow here in the park. Also, hummingbirds are known for their flight. They can fly up to 60 miles per hour, and they can flap their wings 80 to 200 times per second. So let's do this exercise together. Everybody put out your hummingbird wings. And when I say go, I want you to flap as many times as you can until I say stop. And try to count how many times you flap, okay? Ready, set, start. Stop. I think I flap my wings maybe 8 times. So these hummingbirds can flap their wings 80 to 200 times in a second, and that enables them to hover in one place over a flower. They are the only bird that can fly backwards and even upside down momentarily. So that's really exciting about our hummingbirds. Now, this is the smallest bird in our park. Another very small bird that's very important here in our park is called a California gnatcatcher. They're small, kind of grayish birds, and the females don't have that black cap. In the springtime, the males will get a black cap on the top of their head, and they're very important here at Crystal Cove because they are a threatened species. Do you know what threatened means? That means they could become endangered, which means they could become extinct. Now, why are they threatened? Well, that's because their home or their habitat has been developed with buildings and construction. Here down in Southern California in Orange County, we have a lot of development. And so we're losing the vegetation that they use for their habitat called coastal sage scrub. So when we protect open spaces like this California State Park, we create habitat for animals that need to recover so they can regain their population. And here at Crystal Cove State Park, we're so proud to have many successful nesting pairs of California gnatcatchers. And they make a call that sounds kind of like a kitty cat. They go, meow, meow, meow. So birds make different calls for different reasons. Some calls are meant to cry out a warning that maybe there's a predator around. Some calls are used by young chicks because they're hungry and they're crying for their mom. Other calls are called contact calls. That just means the bird is crying out, "I'm here! Where are you?" So have you heard this call ever before out in the wild? It sounds kind of like Chicago, Chicago, Chicago. So that's the call of our California state bird, which we mentioned before. That is our California quail. So let's look at the beak and the feet of this bird compared to our hummingbird. They have much sturdier, big feet. They like to be on the ground. They're ground-dwelling birds. And look at their bill. Their bill is kind of chunkier and shorter for crunching on seeds. So they hang out on the ground and they look for seeds, and sometimes they'll eat insects, but mostly they are herbivores, meaning they only eat plants. And they're very social birds. They like to hang out in big groups all together. And both the male and the female, so the girl and the boy, have this top knot of feathers. It's about 6 feathers all together on the top of their head. And do you guys think that this is a boy or a girl bird? If you look at all of the pretty feathers, they have very ornate plumage. That means colorful and detailed plumage. So this is a boy or a male bird. In the bird world, the males are much more colorful because they're trying to attract a mate. And then the girls are going to be much more kind of plain colored. And why would they want to be plain colored? Well, their role out in nature is to sit on their nest and to protect their eggs. So if they had a lot of bright colors, like a boy bird, then they could attract predators to their nest. So they want to blend in or camouflage. So this is our male quail. All right, our next bird is different from the birds that we've learned about today because it's active in the nighttime and it sleeps during the day. And it likes to eat meat. Can you think of a bird that's active in the nighttime and it likes to eat meat? Well, let's meet our great horned owl. So owls are raptors or birds of prey. That means they're known for having very sharp beaks for tearing into flesh and meat, very sharp talons for grabbing their prey, and very sharp eyesight. Owls are really incredible with their adaptations or special traits to survive in their environment. Their wings, for instance, are fringed at the edges, so they are silent flyers in the night. We have an owl wing here I can share with you. This is the wing of a barn owl. They're white and they have a heart-shaped face and they make a scream kind of in the night. And if you look at the tips, you can see, maybe it's hard to see with the light here, there are little fringes, and that makes their wings silent for flight. Also here I have the talon of our owl, so you can see how sharp those talons are, their claws for grabbing their prey. And our owl has amazing eyesight. They can probably see over 100 times better than we can. They have very large eyes that they use to spot prey, prey like rabbits or mice or voles or other little small mammals here in the backcountry here at Crystal Cove. And their eyes are so big that they can't move them around like we do. Can you move your eyes in a circle? They're not able to do that. So they use binocular vision. They're looking straight forward. And that's the reason why they can do that really extra special movement with their neck. Do you guys know what they can do with their neck? They can turn their neck almost 270 degrees. We can only go 190. So can you try turning your head all the way around to see behind you? No, it's very hard. So that's an adaptation that the owl uses so that it can see its prey in the nighttime. Also, they have facial disc feathers that look like kind of a satellite that guides sound to their ears. They have ear spots underneath their feathers. So that is our owl, our raptor and bird of prey here at Crystal Cove. So all of the birds that we've learned about today live on land. I'm actually seeing some quail run by behind the camera right now. But what about birds that live on the water? On lakes or oceans? Have you ever been to the beach before? What kinds of birds do you see on the beach? So now I'm going to introduce one of the largest birds we see here in our park on the beach. Oh my gosh, kind of wish you guys could help me with this one. This is our brown pelican. So you may have seen these gorgeous birds flying like those dinosaurs, pterodactyls, over the ocean in a big V-shaped formation. They're very graceful over the water, and these birds like to live primarily on the water. So they're called seabirds. And here we have a marine protected area, or MPA, that protects certain species that we have here at Crystal Cove State Park. But throughout California, there are MPAs that protect different places where seabirds nest and give birth to their young and breed. So thank you for MPAs for protecting our rookeries, or places where birds rest and breed. Our pelican has a huge beak. Look at its beak compared to the other birds we've seen. Hummingbirds have very long bills too, but a pelican's bill is different because they have this big pouch. It's called a gular pouch. And what they do is they fly up to 65 feet up in the air. They look down and they look for a little glimmer of a fish in the water, and then they plunge dive all the way down into the water and snatch up that fish. They can hold up to 3 gallons of water in their gular pouch. I think that's so incredible. They have webbed feet. So remember, we learn a lot from birds about their feet and their bills. And they use those webbed feet for swimming. They sit on the top of the water and they move around, and also for diving down and getting their fish. So that is our pelican. I am so glad that you joined me today for this virtual Junior Ranger program to learn about the birds here that we have at Crystal Cove State Park. I hope you feel inspired to go out there and find birds on your own. And if you're being safe and you're staying close to your home, you can still use a pair of binoculars, or you don't even need binoculars. You can go into your backyard and look for birds in the trees. You can look out your window right now, and I bet if you wait long enough, you will see a bird. Also, I wanted to mention all of the material we used today, the nests and the feathers, these are all used for education here in the park. So when you're out in nature, everything is protected. So you never want to collect feathers or nests and take them home. We want to leave them in their environment. We just use them to educate everyone, get them inspired about nature and birds. All right, well, I don't know about you, but I think I'm gonna go for a hike right now and try to see some birds out here at Crystal Cove. I hope you have a wonderful summer, and thank you for joining in. Bye.